if you're trying to spot a tornado. And at this point, if you are in some of these warning zones, we don't want you out waiting for it, looking out the window. We need you getting into the interior room of that home, away from windows. If you're listening to us, we're on the radio, iHeart radio stations throughout West Alabama. When we have these tornado warnings like this, you need to not be in a vehicle at a time like this. You need to be in a site-built structure, a sturdy structure. And when we have these tornado warnings, you need to, if it's a convenience store, pull off at one of the exits there on 59 to 2059 down through Sumter County, and make sure you get into a building until this passes. This is a dangerous storm. There's going to be some strong straight line winds, could certainly impact folks driving there through Greene County and into Sumter County as this line moves on to the east. Right now we got some rain that's breaking out south of Birmingham. I know we talked a lot about isolated storms and severe storms out ahead of the line. A lot of what we're seeing at this point further to the east, I'm not too concerned about that at the moment. I'm mostly, obviously, along this line. That's where we have most of the action here happening at this point. I want to jump back over to the controls. Jill's also monitoring some of the storms that we have happening in other parts of the area. Let's go back over to, I want to get to the Columbus radar site here and take a closer look at this storm. Let me see if I can pull that up, and there we go to the radar. And let's clear some of this off here so you can actually get a better view. Let's go into, I want to get into Pickens County, where we have some of those strong winds right now, places like Aliceville. This is Highway 14 here, so if you live anywhere near Benevola and then back towards Highway 14, be ready within the next 30 minutes, some of those strong winds. That's actually a severe thunderstorm warning. That will go until 4:30 there for Pickens County. Beasley area, those higher wind gusts and heavy rain closing in. There's Carrollton. Let's get in even closer. There's Highway 86, so the wind's about to pick up here along Highway 17 and Highway 86 right there in Coleman as that storm closes in. To the north, the storm so far remaining severe. No tornado warning that we see right now for Marion County. As we back this view out to the north, we've got another severe thunderstorm warning for Marion County. Also Lamar County under a severe thunderstorm warning. That one in Marion County until 4:30 for the possibility of some damaging wind gusts. See a couple of tiny cells trying to develop out ahead of this, but the main show is right there along that line. That's where we could end up with some gusts. Let's check out the triple threat, do some real-time analysis on this. Let's see, there's Columbus. Let's go to the triple threat. This will indicate where we have the stronger winds, and we get in here really, really close. And even seeing some indications, maybe some hail producers. You can see the lightning is still there. We've got quite a bit of lightning with that. That line still packing a punch here through, it looks like now Belk community. There's Millport. This is Highway 86, getting some of that very heavy rain, maybe some small hail, and then back into Pickens County. Take another look and see right in here these areas. Let's see if we can bring up some of those values. See right there, 58 mile per hour winds. That's what our system's telling us. That's what's moving into Pickens County right now. At least 58 mile per hour winds here impacting parts of Pickens County. We've got to watch out for that. Let's clear some of that off, and let's continue here to the south. And right in this area, there's that tornado warning, and it's about to enter into Sumter County. This is the rotation right here. Let's get in really, really close. There's Boyd. There is Painville area, actually. Painville being impacted by this. Let's put another speed. Look at that, 80 mile per hour wind. So we could have a tornado here now crossing the state line near Painville and Sumter County and the Boyd area. Highway 17 areas. There's Highway 28, so giving you that first alert here in Sumter County. The way this is tracking, University of West Alabama is going to be to our south here. Places like the Belmont, Ward areas, that's all to our south. Tornado is going to be right in this general area. Here's a look at the rotation again as that crosses very, very close to Painville and moving to the north. Let's go in really close. Sledge community. There's Sumter County Road 20, and there's Sumterville. I mentioned a few moments ago, Sumterville Road. You are in the path of this. If you're watching me here in Sumterville, seek shelter as that tornado and a lot of lightning in here. This is a very intense storm now that is moving to the northeast. Let's talk about the big picture one more time as we monitor that tornado warning here across the area. This is a look at the next 60 minutes, and just to show you how this all evolves and where this will be with respect respect to places like Tuscaloosa. You can see, let's back this out even further. And again, that tornado watch, if your weather radio is going off, that has been expanded to include parts of Jefferson County, Shelby counties were included in that tornado watch. Now Coleman County as well. This is that 60-minute advantage taking us all the way to 5:27, and you can see the leading edge moving into Winston, Walker, and then impacting parts of Fayette County that were actually hard hit earlier this season. We had some of that severe weather there in southern, around the Poplar Springs area there. You get into southern Fayette County near Pea Ridge. That's where we had some of that storm damage earlier this season. That area will be impacted, but you kind of get the picture here. The setup today, and as we talked about yesterday, this was not going to be a historic kind of severe weather setup across the state. Every severe weather event's unique in its own way. This particular one, though, I did expect to see a few warnings, kind of like what we're seeing right now. And with time tonight, hopefully some of the things that could change that we talked about may happen, and we may see this more, the severe weather start to, or the severe weather ingredients move further south. Obviously, parts of Alabama won't get through this unscathed. There will be quite a bit of active weather down in the southern part of the state even later on tonight. But a lot of rain you can see with this. This is taking us out the next 60 minutes. So by 5:30, this will be approaching Tuscaloosa. Okay, Tuscaloosa, I'm giving you that first alert here. By 5:30, the possibility of some stormy weather. Maybe, I'm not saying there's going to be a tornado warning at that time, but there could be some damaging straight line winds. We're giving you that hour advantage here as that line does approach. And the same for us here in Utah, Tuscaloosa. I'll tell you what, Northport and Jasper, and Double Springs, okay, within the hour. That's when that's all going to be approaching us here, that first line of storms. And hopefully, Jill, you've been kind of looking at some of these other storms. Hopefully that's going to be the last, of some of these warnings tonight for some of these areas. Hopefully behind this it cools off, and that really helps things out. And it seems like a lot of that more potent air for tornadoes is kind of getting squeezed off to the southwest there around Sumter County at the moment.
Yeah, the front of the bus, well, that would be the head of the line. That's where the most active weather is going to be. We're not seeing individual cells, so it wouldn't be 2 rounds. It is the round you're seeing. I do want to give folks a first alert. We are detecting a stronger portion of the storm where we have potentially some strong wind gusts, and this is going to be headed up towards Fayette, Mount Vernon. We'll give you a first alert. We're not seeing a warning yet for your area, but our system is detecting those intense winds. So again, we're watching this, and I really think what will happen once the front end of this storm system goes through the main line, it's going to transition to a flash flood threat. There's a lot of precipitation back to the west. I'll just change it real quick to go to the national radar view and look at all that precipitation. That all has to move through, so that's why we're concerned. There were multiple hazards, potential hazards for today. Not only that threat for tornadoes, damaging winds and hail, but also flash flooding and also those winds that are non-thunderstorm related. So again, we're going to see once that line moves through, your threat for severe weather would end. So that means Hamilton, once this batch moves through, then you're going to see, again, just rain, heavy rain after that. We're not seeing any warnings back behind it, so it could transition to a flooding threat. So that main line is down from Hamilton to Guin, almost to Fayette right now. It is stretching down towards Carrollton. Again, watching those storms coming out from the southwest very closely. Again, we still have a tornado warning. It is a radar indicated that storm is capable of producing a tornado across Sumter County. So that means we want folks that are watching us right now in the Pickens County area and parts of Greene County, start making those plans to get to your safe place, because you would be next in line if there was a tornado warning issued for your area. Again, everything is moving off to the northeast about 45 miles per hour. And again, we're seeing some of the towns that are going to be impacted by the tornado warned storm. You've got, well, it's just updating right now. Let's check on a different skit for you. And this is maybe in the Gainesville area, about 4:50. We're talking about Sumterville, there we go, at 4:39, so about 8 minutes away. So again, we're watching these storms real closely. We've got all eyes on this. We have storm chasers trying to get in position, and I've been in contact with one of them, Ryan Carty. He's been headed down. He saw Fred actually in Carrollton and headed down towards Aliceville. So if we get any reports, he will be sure to let us know what he is seeing there. So again, we are tracking this active line moving in, not seeing a ton of reports yet, but sometimes they can be delayed. They've been delayed across the portions of Mississippi. All of a sudden, it was, oh, that storm produced a tornado. Oh, that storm, yeah. So it can be a little lag. So don't think that these storms are producing much. I mean, we're seeing those markers on it, Wes, those markers that, catch our attention whenever they are orange. For sure, you have an intense thunderstorm moving through.
That's right, Jill, and getting some video in right now. This is from the Moody area, and just want to point out, in addition to that risk for storms today, we got some windy conditions out there. The winds gusting over 25 miles per hour. Kim Smith sharing this, and actually let me play this through, but you can just kind of get an idea of those gusts out there. That's going to be a story through tonight. I mentioned earlier, charge your mobile device, have a backup in the event that we do have some random power outages. We've had several windy setups out there, but the winds are really whipping, and we could have some very high gusts outside of storms. Just be aware, if you notice the winds picking up where you are, doesn't mean that we have a severe storm moving into where you live. It's just going to be one of those nights. It's going to be very, very windy conditions impacting our area. Again, we're looking at the next 60 minutes. That's the 60-minute radar view taking us out 1 hour. We'll take some of this off the screen here, get back to a live look on First Alert AccuTrack radar. And as we bring in some of these products, you can notice that one tornado warning, it's to the far south. Now, I just want to note that Sumter County is actually in the Meridian designated market area. So what we're going to do here is we're actually going to break away briefly, because we've been with you here to give you that first alert as if that warning might expand into Greene County. But just be aware, if you're watching me in places like Cochran, Bologee, southern Pickens County, let's watch this closely. Hopefully this storm will continue, if it will weaken, and we'll look at this one more time. Actually, we'll check it out from Columbus here, and still seeing some indications there. It looked a bit more impressive when it was over to Mississippi, which I know we're looking higher up into the storm here as we analyze what's going on. But we have a good lock on this as it moves into Sumter County. There's the times. Once again, those first alert times, you can see New West Greene 4:59. So if this does hold together and that warning is expanded into Greene County, we are certainly going to stay on nonstop. But for right now, we're going to break away temporarily. We'll come back to this as we continue to track this active weather right here on the 4. It is a First Alert Weather Day. Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt, stay with us.
Instability is really pinched on. Maybe 500 Cape, not much.
Okay. What do I have loaded up there off the top?
Live and on your side. WBRC Fox 6 News starts with First Alert Weather.
We're glad you're with us. Welcome back in. New images of storm damage in Mississippi. Get a look as an active storm system is moving towards the east. Possible tornadoes reported in the Jackson area. You can see the roof was torn right off this hardware store.
And that same system is now in Alabama. Sumter County is under a tornado warning.
So let's go straight to our chief meteorologist, Wes Wyatt, who is tracking all of this for us.
Yeah, you know, we've been staying on top of this throughout the day, and we've got a tornado watch now that does include our central counties until 11 o'clock tonight. Right now, Sumter County, tornado warning. We're looking at some of our tornado analysis products here across Sumter County. Right now, crossing Highway 17, but we just got a report from the National Weather Service and the spotter networks checking in some ground truth. No tornado on the ground here, even though we're seeing the indications. Right now, we have spotters that are watching this storm now on Highway 17, and at this point, there are there's no tornado at least active and producing damage from the latest report that we have, but we still need to stay in our safe place. And if you're watching me in Greene County, be on standby here just in case we have a warning that is issued. Let's go back to radar. You know, looking at this, it looks like this line's becoming more elongated. The storm earlier was a bit more lone, isolated, discrete. Those are the ones, you know, we often watch out for, but even in a line like this, these storms can produce tornadoes. And again, that's about to cross into Greene County. This particular warning is set to expire for Sumter County at 5:15 as that tracks to the north. Latest times, here's those first alert times for you just to show you. You can see the Warsaw area 4:56, Panola around 4:57, and West Greene around 5 o'clock. Again, the velocity data, let's get in here really close. You can notice that we are seeing the upper portions of the storm. Actually, it may be better to look at this. Let's check it out from the Birmingham radar site here as it moves through Sumter County, and let's go over to some of the velocity. So that looks a little bit better here as we go in really close, and we'll get down to street level to show you communities being impacted. And we mentioned the Dan Mitchell Road area. Let's see, there's Alabama Highway 116, Gainesville. Lock and Dam is located right in here. There's the Gainesville area, Tom Bigby River. So Gainesville, you are in the path of this. What you're seeing at the bottom of the screen is actually a live look from Pickens County. A lot of folks seeking shelter there as this line of storms move through. But the wind gusts so far, at least from some of the scenes that I've seen coming from the First Alert Storm Tracker, looks like the wind speeds have been less severe so far as that line moves through the Carrollton area. But watching now Sumter County, again, that's still there's some indications in here. You can see that couplet now is crossing Dan Mitchell Road, Alabama Highway 116. We're zoomed in really tight here, far southwest part of our coverage area over Sumter County. We need to watch this. That's going to track very close. There's Gainesville. It's going to cross the river in here very close to Warsaw Road. You can see they're tracking north towards New West Greene. In this area, there's the Warsaw area, Warsaw Road, about to cross the Tom Bigby River. This is Greene County. There's no active warning at the moment for Greene County, but we may, just in case, be ready in case we see that warning expanded to include parts of Greene County. Further north, let's get back into Pickens County. We'll go back over to radar view, and we'll get you back up to date here on the live look as we go to radar. And again, as we note this line to the north, it's mostly, we had severe thunderstorm warnings, but it looks like those have expired there, Jill, for Pickens, and looks like the severe thunderstorm warning for Marion County has also expired. But notice there's still several tornado warnings. You see what's happening here, and this is what we were talking about yesterday. All this instability, this is where we had that moderate risk for severe weather. This is all starting to develop further south in this direction. That's why the risk here is a bit more limited. And once this line moves through, it cools things off. Severe weather threat really drops off for where you live, other than that risk for, you know, the heavy rain, and we need to watch out for some flooding later on tonight. So it may be a situation here where we see that greatest severe weather risk. Hopefully things, you know, across the entire state. You never like to see severe weather even in the southern part of the state, but hopefully things kind of settle down as some of this starts to slide even further to the south. But that's what we're going to be watching out for here over the next few hours. Let me go back over to our system. I want to walk you through the forecast radar data. Haven't really taken a look at this. Jill, if you could put this back over into show mode here. I want to go back through some of the go back through some of the forecast data, and actually looks like we just had a rotation marker popped up there, so still a strong indication, according to radar data, at least of a possible tornado there across northern Sumter County. I know that latest spotter report, we didn't see anything, but something could spin up here at any moment. But by 5:40, Tuscaloosa, listen up. You are going to be in the path of this line of storms. No guarantees this will be severe when it reaches Tuscaloosa, but that heavy rain, intense lightning, gusty winds possible, giving you that first alert for 5:40. Same for Samantha, north side, Jasper area. Be ready. Some of that gusty winds, heavy rainfall. In Coleman, we're looking at about an hour and a half to 2 hours, but the Smith Lake area will certainly be impacted here by 5:40. Still a couple hours before a lot of this moves into Jefferson and Shelby counties. Here's a look at the forecast radar, which has done a pretty good job here. There's 7 o'clock. You see that heavy rain moving into West Alabama, and it looks like Birmingham, you can see a soaking rain by 9 o'clock tonight as that moves on through. And the back edge of all this wet weather may not get out of here until well after midnight. You can see it's going to be a rainy, stormy night out there. The risk for tornadoes later tonight really drops off, but that risk will still be there, non-zero, but it will still be there, especially to the south. I think we may see some counties in a watch for some of those areas there further south. So a big active night, big weather setup out there with all these impacts from straight line winds to that risk of tornadoes and even that risk for some flash flooding. But if we can drop this banner just to show you the 7-day forecast, you'll notice there for the next few days by Thursday and Friday, we've got some improving weather conditions. I can't rule out maybe a sprinkle there on Thursday, those highs in the 60s, and then Saturday night and into Sunday could see some more frost, so the temperatures do trend cooler. So once we get through tonight, I promise some big improvements in our weather here over the next couple of days. So we'll go back over to live radar here as we monitor that tornado warning. And Jill, I know you've been monitoring the situation there over Sumter County, and you seeing any additional reports? I guess that last spotter report, we did not see a tornado producing damage at that time. What are you seeing right now?
Yeah, there's no new reports coming in. Again, they have some chasers in and around this area, so they are trying to get in different positions to view the storm to see if it's producing anything. I know phone calls are being made to different areas where circulation has passed. And again, we're still picking up on that strong circulation across Sumter County. Other areas, you're looking at some stronger wind gusts being possible. So again, it is Sumter County that has the tornado warning. We want you to pay close attention. If the Weather Service decides, they may issue for green in parts of maybe southern Pickens County. So that's an area to watch. Now, farther to the north, I do want to give you a first alert for flooding, because we have a flood advisory that has been issued for parts of Pickens County as well as parts of Lamar County. So that problem, that hazard is starting to develop. Next step in line would be a warning. We're also seeing some strong wind gusts, maybe over 40 miles per hour. For folks watching us right now into the, let's see, Fayette area, we have again Winfield by 504. You could see some strong winds along with heavy rainfall, a lot of lightning with these storms going on through. So again, we're still monitoring this line. Strong thunderstorms headed for the Double Springs area, Eldridge, again, areas to the east. Again, not quite up to that severe level, which would be 60-mile-per-hour winds or stronger. We're talking about 40-mile-per-hour winds are going to be possible with that particular part of the storm system. So again, we have been monitoring all areas very closely for you. We're not trying to leave anyone out. Again, we're seeing the heavy rainfall. That will be a big problem once the front end of these storms pass on by. And again, we are monitoring. Look at all, let me show you this. We have 1, 2, so 3 tornado warned storms. We get a severe thunderstorm warning. Again, we are going to be watching all this activity as it shifts northeastward. We have another live view out of Carrollton. Fred Hunter has been hunkering down inside of the storm shelter with folks. Again, they're not under a tornado warning, but that could change. So always good to be in that safe spot well ahead of time. Just wait it out till those storms pass. And so we want folks, again, ahead of these thunderstorms to do the same thing. You better be in your safe place, especially if you have to travel somewhere that you've gone there maybe already. Hopefully there's a shelter you can go to that would be in the path of this storm, because right now now, Wes, we're starting to see another one of those markers showing up. The Barron Tornado Index, which is 1 to 10. Once it goes up, in the 6, 7 range, we start to think that, yeah, a tornado is probably being produced. It's in the 4 range, but we have many towns that are going to be in the path of this tornado warned storm. So we want you to be ready. Northeast, again, if you're watching us into parts of Greene County, southern Pickens County, that storm is heading in your direction. So hopefully it loses strength, but we plan on it potentially being still a rotating thunderstorm that could produce a tornado. So everything so far has been radar indicated. Wes, are you seeing anything new?
Yeah, just checking in with the National Weather Service. That tornado warning is going to continue here until 5:15 on that storm as we monitor. That's a look at AccuTrack radar. Make sure we're on the right sources here. And let me go into the live view. We're going live look here in the radar. Let's zoom in really, really close. There is Pickens County. There is the tornado warning at this time. And you look at this and you can see it's starting to merge in here with just a lot of rainfall along this line. But there's still some broad rotation when you see that marker showing up. Just to show you some times, again, as Jill noted, you see there around the Clinton area at 5:08. We're talking parts of Greene County if this warning is extended. Let's just check this out. I want to look at some of the products here, do a little real-time analysis on this one as it's moving to the north and east. Let's get in really, really close. And just looking at the velocity here, the red, that's the away from the radar, the green, that's towards the radar. Still very broad circulation here that's showing up. That is near Gainesville. This is where the tornado would be located. Let's get in really, really close. That's Highway 116 in here. Let's go in so you can see some of the roads. Warsaw Road, here's the Tombigbee River. This is the tornado right here. Let me draw this for you so you can see right in this area. That is the tornado, and that is about to cross right here just north of the Gainesville area. So if you're around Warsaw Road, it's about to cross, but at this point it looks like since that tornadic couplet's not really trying to tighten up here with the latest few scans, the Weather Service may let this one ride and let the warning expire there around 5:15. So that is the current view. I know we have lightnings popping in here. You can see all the lightning strikes being detected. New West Greene, that is moving towards you at the moment. But again, it's been one of these active afternoons across West Alabama, but so far we've had a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings. We're checking to see just what kind of ground truth wind reports we're getting out of this, and so far not seeing numerous wind damage related reports. I've seen some reports out of Mississippi where we've had some tree limbs snapped off and some trees toppled and things like that, but so far as a tornado touching down, damaging structures, if we did have something that touched down here across West Alabama, it happened probably out in the open area. This is really open area out here around Livingston and points to the north. A lot of fields and some great visibility in this part of our coverage area when it comes to spotting weather, spotting storms. Actually, to the north, I'm still concerned. I'm looking at some of these storms here. This one around Carbon Hill, there's still a little bit of rotation showing up there. The one over northern Pickens County, there's several areas where we could have some strong winds. There's one right there. That's about to cross near Pilgrim's Rest Baptist Church. That's going to be just south of Fayette right there. Also another one right in here that's moving over central Pickens County. If we follow that along, that's going to track just north of Moore's Bridge. Let's watch this one. Could be some strong winds there with that one that's moving to the north. And also, let's go to a current radar view. I just want to check this one out here. That is Fayette County. Carbon Hill, just looking at that, could have some strong winds happening with this here. Notice those purples showing up, and when you look at this and you look at the radar, you're not necessarily looking at a tornado, looking at the wind. This is all precipitation. This is the target that's sending that energy back to the radar. So when we get that signal back, a color is applied to it, and based on the intensity, that's when you see these higher colors that show up on the scale, heavier precipitation. And sometimes in the core of these storms, you see those purples showing up. That's often an indication that we could also have some small hail in addition to heavy rain that's happening in there. In fact, if we go to our triple threat, you can see right there some indications that we have not only some large hail but some strong winds. If you're watching me here in northern Fayette County, I need to highlight this right here around Hubbardsville. We're seeing some indications of some very strong winds right now. That is right around Fowler's Crossroads on our system. That's moving towards Stewartville. Actually, let's look at this from Columbus and look at it from another view. Okay, so we were looking at it from Birmingham. It looked like the winds, I think we're probably scanning a little bit higher into that storm. I think this gives us a better vantage point. So that's one of the reasons why, you look at this storm here, it's still showing some indications of some hail, but when we were looking from the Birmingham, it was showing those winds higher up, very gusty with this storm. So hopefully those storms don't make it down to this, or those winds don't make it down to the surface here across Fayette County, but that's still a potent storm there that's moving through Fayette County. So needed to check out some of the radar data. Timing for this, by the way, that storm over Fayette County, again, at this point, there's no warning on this, but we're watching it. Carbon Hill, Spring Hill, you can see 5:08 to 5:11, some of those first alert times as that storm moves to the north and east. So back to live radar. Where is all this with respect to places like Birmingham and Coleman? I know we haven't talked a lot about central and eastern areas, but I always say in times like this, if I'm not talking about your neighborhood, that's a good thing. In this situation right now, this is all now starting to move into West Alabama. We've had that warning there happening across Sumter County. Jill's also monitoring some of these other storms. Jill, I believe you got some new information for us.
Lightning right now. So we have this storm, this very intense storm that is moving across Fayette County. Well, one of our watchers there, Robert, said lightning hit a gas meter and has started a structure fire in the Winfield area. So again, that's what we're going to be monitoring as well. Again, multiple different types of hazards will be possible with these storms. It's not just a tornado threat, damaging winds. It's that possibility that we could see, of course, a lot of lightning, and lightning can strike different structures. Of course, it's attracted to metal, tallest objects. So again, stay away from those appliances that are, plugged in. I think electricity can travel multiple different ways. You can get struck and it can happen not just by being outside, but even inside. So we're watching for dangerous cloud ground lightning. You could have some strong wind gusts with these storms moving in right now across Winston County. Again, Fayette. Eventually, you're going to be talking about Jasper. And again, we're just monitoring those reports coming in from both our weather watchers and also any additional reports from the National Weather Service. Wes?
All right, Jill, and I just want to point out that all along this line, we've got the rain, the lightning, impact-wise, some gusty winds. The tornado threat here, the way this is all lining up, it's going to be rather isolated, just based on what we're seeing with these trends here happening across West Alabama at the moment. These tornadoes, warnings, we don't have 5 or 6 warnings at one time like what we saw earlier across parts of Mississippi. It's the latest warnings that we have. We've got this one that may not be expanded into Greene County. I can tell you, I look at this, I'm still seeing some rotation with this. It's a broader rotation. So, Weather Service, they make the call on the warning. We'll see what they say here as this moves into Greene County. But I will tell you, if you're watching me in Greene County, you're still going to get some strong winds out of this storm. And I'd be ready here for some heavy rain, some intense lightning. This is going to be moving across places like West Greene, moving into Clinton, Mantua, places like that. A lot of rain, some heavy rain. And within the hour, all this moving into Tuscaloosa. So I want folks here in T-Town ready for some of those higher wind gusts and heavy rain as this line moves in within the hour. But now pushing on through Pickens County. We checked in with Fred a few moments ago. Didn't look too bad. Nice to see, those conditions in Pickens County with this. And hopefully, we get through this with very little high wind gust. And, as this moves on through, as Jill noted a few moments ago, that lightning strike there in the Winfield area that was reported. There's Fayette getting some heavy rain. One area that we were talking about a few moments ago had some indications there. We had some strong winds with that line, but this has all turned into, I might have mentioned this before, when you see something like this, many times, even in the winter months, we have squall lines that move through the state. We call this a QLCS, a convective, a quasi-linear convective system, and it's a somewhat straight line of storms that's moving through our area. And along that line, when you get these little ripples that show up, you see that even in a line like that. I know it's not a supercell storm out by itself. You can have tornadoes, and that's why we're staying on top of this. And one of the reasons why we have a tornado watch that will go until 11 o'clock for tonight for Birmingham and areas even further east for the overnight. We'll still need to watch this, especially for areas where it's a little bit warmer. One thing we were starting to note, that instability is starting to get pinched off further south. It's about 4:55 right now. That tornado warning was set to expire around 5:15, I believe. Yeah, 5:15 here for Sumter County. Sumter County is actually in the Marion designated market area. Our sister station WTOK right now is probably in wall-to-wall mode for this as this storm moves into Sumter County at this time. But that is tracking closer to Greene County. One of the reasons why we've been staying on this is to give folks a first alert here around Bologee and Utah. Bologee is located right here. Again, the Tombigbee River. There's Livingston. The Epps exit is located about right here. I mentioned Sumterville a few moments ago, and if we do have a tornado at this point, Jill, does it look like that? This is the actual polygon. I believe that is the actual storm there. It's almost completely out of the polygon at the moment, so we may see this warning drop before 5:15 here as this moves north and east.
Yeah, but also just kind of going back and looking at just how the atmosphere is right now, where we're seeing, strong wind shear in the atmosphere. That is all the way up across North Alabama. So that severe thunderstorm threat will exist there. There's talks about a potential watch being extended into parts of Tennessee. So again, we have two kind of parts to it. We have more of a damaging wind threat. I think that it's going to transition into, if we see any rough weather, it's going to be North Alabama, damaging winds. Where I'm more concerned about a tornado threat is going to be farther to the south and west, because this air is very, very unstable right now across southern Mississippi, all the way up towards Marion, even Utah, over towards, say, Calera southward. So this part of the watch, really need to watch it, because that's where the air is a little bit more prime for the potential for tornadoes to develop with these storms. We've had storm chasers on the storm down into parts of Sumter County, and they're literally right under where that circulation is, and it's not producing anything. So that is great news, and that's why the Weather Service has not decided to extend that warning any bit farther to the north and east right now. Of course, they're monitoring radar trends. If something were to change, then of course they would extend that warning. But as we take a closer look, again, Wes was talking about the circulation in that area. Maybe it is about to move out. Well, again, we are just seeing it's not showing up a lot of rotation right now. It's kind of right on the edge of different radars. So again, we'll be watching that area. It looks like that warning should be allowed to expire, what, 15 minutes you were saying, Wes? We get that warning.
Yeah, it may be allowed to expire sooner than that, Jill. I want to jump back in here as we... I apologize for that. This storm's moving into Greene County. That's new West Greene area. Quite a bit of lightning. That storm now about completely out of the polygon. I was just noticing here the National Weather Service. Now this would be just north and west of Livingston. Christopher Vaughn reporting the Boyd Fire Department on Painville Road 12, about 3 miles from 17, reporting some very high winds and heavy rain with that cell that moved through. Gainesville Fire reporting just a lot of heavy rain and some visibility issues. So at this point, no reports of a tornado with this. Now that it's moving into Greene County, we're keeping an eye on it as our coverage continues on this First Alert Weather Day. The news at 5 starts right now.
Live and on your side, WBRC Fox 6 News starts with First Alert Weather.
It is a First Alert Weather Day, and now live at 5 storms moving from West Alabama, from Mississippi into West Alabama. This is new video of the damage from the Jackson, Mississippi area. They had down power lines and damage to a church, all from a possible tornado. And now a live look at conditions in Pickens County from our WBRC Fox 6 Storm Tracker, where meteorologist Fred Hunter at a storm shelter. He'll join us live at 5 in a moment.
Well, those storms are moving east and will be impacting the metro Birmingham area. This is a live look from our tower cam right now. No rain here, but we are getting strong gusts of wind here atop Red Mountain. Right now, Sumter County is under a tornado warning, and a tornado watch is in effect for most of our viewing area right now. Our Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt is on your side tracking all of these storms. Wes.
Yeah, just looking at some of the data here, we have a couple of areas we've been watching here as we monitor the storms moving through Sumter County. That tornado warning going until 5:15 here for Sumter County. There's actually another area that's starting to move into Sumter County. I want to take a look at this here as we go with some of the tornado products and the velocity data. We're getting reports now coming in out of Sumter County. So far, just a lot of rain. No reports of a tornado, but there's one area near Sledge, just north of Amel. Another rotation that we're tracking now moving in, so it looks like that's also going to be why we're continuing this through 5:15, but a couple of areas there making their way through. There were actually 4 different spots where we saw rotation with some of these storms over into Mississippi, and as this stuff moves in Alabama, it starts to weaken, which is a very good thing. So far, though, we're under a warning still. I just want you to stay put here in Sumter County if you are watching. We have that one storm that's moving on into Greene County, tracking to the north. No active warning for Greene County at the moment, but we're watching this southern flank of this line. That's where these storms seem to be capitalizing on the most unstable air here as they continue to develop and track to the north. But a lot going on with this. If we back this view out and just show you, you can see all the storms pretty much as expected kind of lining up. It looked like the main axis of heavy rain and storms might not move in until maybe 6, 7 o'clock tonight, but already that leading edge of some of the heavier rain and storms moving into West Alabama. And I want to point out here, we're seeing no warnings right now. Fayette to the north, this is just a lot of heavy rain, some intense lightning, but it is a system, you know, kind of like what we saw Friday morning. There's going to be some loud noisemakers in here, blinding rainfall, gusty winds, but not quite to the severe level. But even in these situations, you can have some winds near 50 miles per hour, 58. That is the threshold if you see a severe thunderstorm warning. But it's going to be windy, rainy, some intense lightning as that line moves in. And what a change from yesterday. Already a lot of reports. We mentioned there could be some big-time wind gust out there in addition to the storms. It's been rather windy. And notice some cells popping here. Check this out south of Clanton down towards Montgomery. Let me clear some of this off the screen so we can watch some of this. Some rain now developing. We'll need to keep a close eye on this zone in here to the south. This is where it's very unstable. Jill Lauren here in the weather office, let's keep an eye on what's going on with some of these storms here south of Clanton. Don't want to leave any of these storms unattended here as we track this active weather moving in. But Sumter County, that is the only actual active warning that we have close to home. There's one around Florence, parts of Franklin, and into Lauderdale counties. Have a couple of warnings happening across the Tennessee Valley. But the team here watching this, let's go one more time to forecast radar to show you the next 60 minutes. We're monitoring this. A lot of folks asking what time will some of this be moving into some other locations like Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, places like that. See if we can get some of this off the screen. There we go. So you can see this. That's a look at the next 60 minutes. So this is taking us out to roughly 6 o'clock here. And that would put this line in the heavier rain impacting places like Arley, the Houston area, pushing through Double Springs and Coleman. So within the hour, areas that will be impacted, Double Springs to Coleman, Jasper to Hayden. Looks like for Samantha will be impacted. Also back towards places like Reform, still dealing with some of that heavy rain. Tuscaloosa to Cottondale, looks like by 6 o'clock. Birmingham still is going to be a little while here, another couple of hours before some of that heavier rain makes it into the city of Birmingham. Same for us here in Shelby County. We'll be watching back towards Bessemer and places like that. Notice a lot of flood warnings also along our waterways here. So the flooding, that's going to continue along the rivers and as we get more rain tonight. But Utah by 6 o'clock in Demopolis, giving you that first alert there for those storms to arrive around 6 o'clock. Not guaranteeing there's going to be severe weather at that point, but that's when you can expect some of the biggest impacts, the rain, the gusty winds, the intense lightning as that line approaches you. So we're staying with you here for this tornado warning that we have in effect. Again, we're going from forecast data back to live data here on First Alert AccuTrack radar. And let's bring you back up to date on what's happening at the moment. The one area that we are watching, this is it right here, northern Sumter County, couple of locations. Let's check out the tornado. Let's look at the rotation tracker with this, and let's bring that in. We have some of our different products. We can filter out all the rain and just go inside the storm here and pinpoint where the greatest rotation would be. And we are far from the radar site, but we still have a couple of ways to scan this. Let's check out Columbus, and we'll look at that view. And seeing more of the rotation here, obviously, as we get some more radar data coming in around Greene County. You can see quite a bit of lightning happening there. Let's check out a couple of different products. I want to take a look at this. But anytime, this is a very tricky area. You get into the far southwest of any radar zone. That's what we call the unambiguous range. We get outside of that, we start to end up with, we get between the different radar scans, the different radar coverage zones, and sometimes you can end up with it's kind of tough going in here and seeing where some of these smaller rotations will be, but a lot of rain happening at the moment as that continues on towards the north and east direction. I want to break away here as we continue to monitor this. Sumter County, that warning goes until 5:15, but at this point, Jill, looks like now we're actually going to cancel Sumter County, so that tornado warning will be canceled as that one storm moves into Greene County. But so since that is going to be canceled at the moment, what we'll do is we'll send it back over, Jonathan and Sarah, to you guys. We're here watching it in the Weather Center. Mostly just a lot of rain and wind, and really like what I'm seeing right now with that latest warning canceled.
All right, Wes, thanks so much. As you mentioned, a lot of the action is in West Alabama, where our WBRC Fox 6 Storm Tracker is right now.
Our meteorologist Fred Hunter is live at 5 in Pickens County with the weather conditions there. Fred, tell us exactly where you are there.
Well, Sarah and Jonathan, we are just off the courthouse square here in Carrollton, of course, in Pickens County, and been here for a couple hours. The storm shelter open. Took a head count here, about 35, 40 folks seeking shelter, just erring on the side of caution here. We are just off the courthouse square, actually, Sarah, to answer your question directly and to give you some perspective for those folks who might be familiar with this area, the history of the area and the history of the state of Alabama. Of course, that's the old Carrollton Courthouse, the Pickens County Courthouse, the site of the famous face in the courthouse window. But as far as what's happened here today, earlier today in West Alabama, we were in the low 80s actually in a couple spots. I've been to Tuscaloosa County all day. Coming over to Pickens County, started to cool down. Now we're dealing with rain, cooled air, and what's happened here in Carrollton and in this part of Pickens County, we did get some gusty winds, more typical of what you might find in a summertime thunderstorm, where you get those cool winds, the thunder and lightning, the wind picks up, and then the heavy rain moves in. The rain actually is of a moderate intensity right now. It was a little heavier early, but there's been some ponding, other than some rumbles of thunder, which you can hear overhead now, and the rainfall so far. It looks as if the weather has remained fairly stable here in Carrollton and Pickens County, but as I said, a lot of folks are erring on the side of caution and just seeking safe shelter, which of course is always a good idea. Reporting live from Carrollton and Pickens County, I'm meteorologist Fred Hunter, WBRC Fox 6 News, on your side.
Oh my goodness, get a look at this dramatic video of a tornado yesterday in Elgin, Texas. This is not the kind of weather you want to be found in. You can see the twister tossing around debris and knocking a truck on its side before blowing it right side up. Amazingly, after it was blown around, that truck was still able to drive away. Wow. Well, that tornado from the same storm system impacting us now.
Yeah, the system's already spawned multiple tornadoes, leaving widespread damage in parts of Texas and Oklahoma. A 73-year-old woman killed in Grayson County. That's in North Texas. At least a dozen other people were hurt. New video of damage in